Awesome.
Please don't charge me again, Kevin. I'll be ready this time. So, I'm actually doing this speech tomorrow for a group called Network in Action. It's a group of very wealthy individuals. To be honest, I'm practically the only person, a minority in there. And so, I'll be talking to them about something I feel is very important. And I'll pretty much give this speech to you guys to make sure we can all focus on this. Because it's so easy to focus on successful tips, how to speak the best, how to get the most clients, how to have the most money, how to be the most successful businessman. But I wouldn't want to give that piece of advice I wouldn't want to give that piece of advice and knowing that some businessmen may also treat their inferiors like inferiors. They get angry maybe at their families or what have you. I would want to give so much advice to people who are trying to become successful without learning how to take care of their mental health. So that's why I'll be talking about mental health today. And in honor of Mental Health Month, I think it's always good to have a check on our mental health because without a healthy mind, you can't have a healthy life. And so, the subtitle of this message is how focusing on mental health can actually contribute to successes in your life. Meaning that you can become successful and have everything you want, but if you're not happy mentally, if you're not healthy mentally, it's almost not even gonna happen. So we live in a culture that celebrates success by any means necessary. Doesn't matter how you get to the top of the mountain, doesn't matter who you have to knock down to get there, especially in this capitalistic society, we try to be the top guy and top woman, no matter how we get there. And also we become very unhealthy and very unhappy in how we get there. And so all due respect to these two people, but we looked at Robin Williams, we looked at Chesney Christ as people who were very successful. Chesney Christ was Miss America, Miss USA in 2019. Robin Williams, many Academy Awards, top of his field, comedic professional, was amazing, but we never knew the battles that they struggled behind the scenes until it was too late. So that's my question to everyone here. Make sure we're checking on each other before it gets too late. I want to talk about, first of all, my mom and her battle with mental health. This is how I remember my mom, but also, here's a cute baby picture of me. Right there, I was holding the ball. Still dancing. So, my mom, as I remember her, was a very bright woman. She was always smiling. She was always connecting with people. She made you feel like she was family, like she was your family. Around all the apartments when I grew up in a very impoverished neighborhood, I just remember her just talking to people and just saying hi to people and neighbors and just making them feel like they were the most important people in the room. Now, my mom had no one to turn to, and as we were growing up, she had to take a lot of things upon herself. She didn't have a therapist to talk to, a counselor to talk to, and she basically developed a superwoman complex where she had to do so many things. She even took up 2 jobs, raised 3 kids, did a lot of things. And also, my dad wasn't probably the most supportive person in the relationship. So she took all these stresses, all these challenges of life, to eventually it broke her, and she developed schizophrenia. And the mom that I saw there was not the mom that I saw pass away in 2013. She lost her mind, basically. And I feel like there were a lot of things she could have done beforehand to help her be able to cope with some of these stresses of life. So this is just a big check. And also, let me tell you my story as well, as I tried to be Superman, especially in the Marine Corps. I did a lot of things. I was nominated as Marine Musician of the Year for being a drummer. And I also lost my ability to play music in 2011. And that was a very difficult part of my life. So music was something I'd done for basically 14 years up to that point, and when I lost it, I lost a piece of myself, and I didn't know how to cope. And being very transparent with you all, I suffered a mental breakdown because of a lack of of mechanism to deal with that kind of stress. And this isn't just to single my mom out or single myself out or even single Robin Williams or even single Chesley Price. This is a human condition. Is that if we do not know how to deal with our mental health, if we don't know how to balance some of these things, then it can actually break us and actually develop long-term ramifications. So I want to give you a different perspective on mental health and mental wellness. To think of your mind almost like a body. And so if something were to happen to, say, this gentleman up here, say someone were to, say Kevin were to rush him, if he was standing there, it would hurt a little bit. And say Kevin was really, really strong and maybe like he got some injury or something like that. And if this man was injured in his stomach, and it was a very life-threatening injury, would he just leave it? Would he just let it fester? Or would he go to a doctor to do something about it? Right? So if we have some of these stresses and things that we have in our life, we have to make sure that we're doing something about it to make sure that it is taken care of, and also we can turn it into an opportunity for growth. So think of your mind almost like a body. There are stresses that come into your everyday life on an everyday basis, and just to make sure that you are taking the proper steps to take care of these things, so it doesn't become a long-term injury or long-term problem. And so different methods of maintaining mental wellness and well-being. I want to hammer on number one, sleep. We live in a no-sleep culture. By any means necessary. Stay up all night, do everything you can, but then ignore your sleep. And sleep is actually one of the main proponents of mental wellness. It can help you just reset and come with a fresh mood, and so you're not being mad at anyone. Taking rest breaks, journaling, changing your thought patterns. If you're thinking a lot of negative thoughts, you can address those negative thoughts and make them more positive. Exercise, therapy, prayer as well. And also I want to put a caveat there. With the spirituality, yes, I do believe I'm a Christian myself, but also there are things that I feel that God has also given us, including therapy and people and friends to help us balance the load here. All right, I want to give. This is a very serious topic, but I want to read this last paragraph. This is actually Chesley Price's last text to her mom. I love you, Mom. You're my best friend and the person I've lived for years. I wish I could have stayed with you, but I cannot bear the pressure of persistent sadness, hopelessness, and loneliness any longer. And I'll just stop right there. She was happy on the outside, but struggling with it. And I'll also say, make sure you're checking on yourselves. Check on your loved ones. This is a month that we get to make sure that we're checking on the mental wellness to make sure we have happy lives, not only on the outside, but also on the inside. Thank you so much.